Len Coleman, 1304 Wyoming Avenue. Just a couple of points. Growing up in Exeter, born and raised there, I can go back to Jerry Claps. No one can question the excellent services that Exeter has always provided to the police, fire department, and the street department. With it. Refuse picking up curb to curb, it is exceptional. The only problem I have is, Mr. Boyle, we talked about a $400,000 shortfall in the budget, but that does not include the $207,000 that Exeter has borrowed from the sewer fund and the refuse fund, correct? So the total would be $602,100. That's correct. Which means, if to keep all of the services, and everybody likes services, believe me. Officer puts his life on the line. As you can see back there, you know, the officer was hit at Turkey Hill. We all have exceptional services in Exeter. Nobody likes to see taxes being raised. But if we're $602,100 in the hole, that would represent a millage increase of 150%, if my math is correct, which means someone who might be paying $200 in Exeter Borough taxes, if all services, if everything is copacetic and the $602,000 deficit is not met, someone who's paying $200 in Exeter Borough taxes next year will be paying $500. Is that a simplification of basically where we're at?
If you assume you're going to pay whatever the general fund is borrowed from the other
yes, the $207,000, yes.
In 1 year, the council has clearly the option to pay that back as it would pay back any loan over a period of time. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why they cannot choose to do that as an inter-fund repayment of the borrowing over 5 years and pay those funds back, the interest for the use of those funds.
Okay, but if the money came from the sewer fund, if we have a calamity in Exeter where the Exeter residents have paid their sewer fees and we have a $2 million problem of sewers in Exeter, that money is owed to the sewer fund, though, correct?
That's correct.
So they would have to get that money, make a loan just to offset the money that they borrowed from the sewer fund to take care of the sewers. If there were a calamity, sewer collapses, whatever. Hopefully, certainly that's not going to occur.
I think the central question is the general fund borrowed the money from the other funds, the refuse fund and the sewer fund. So the question then becomes is how do you pay the funds back? You pay the funds back at par, dollar for dollar, with no interest. Or you pay it back with a little bit of interest, assuming that you would have had to pay interest if you borrowed the funds from the bank, as another municipality might do. And you can do it over a period of years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. The borough, I think the general fund has a responsibility to pay the fund back, to pay the other funds back. The responsibility doesn't require them to do it in 1 year. If that continually would make the fiscal condition of the borough strained at that particular period in time. So I think that's another decision that the council would have to make as to what method, what style, and how they would do that with respect to replenishing those funds in the refuse and in the sewer funds. Again, a decision they have to make. The other option would have been they would have had to go to one of the financial institutions to acquire those funds. There's a distinction in some respects, and we've discussed this with council, between the budget is balanced, or the operations are going, and the cash that's needed to run the borough on a day-to-day basis. So what council did with respect to borrowing that money from the refuse and from the sewer fund was to provide cash to fund the ongoing operations of the borough on a daily basis. And they may continue to need to do that until funds generated from taxes and other fees and income of the borough come in to fund the normal course of operations. 2 payrolls a month or a payroll every 2 weeks. You have insurances, you have employee benefits to pay the borough. The borough, as does any other operation, chew up cash as it goes along. So that's the genesis of the borrowing, is to provide cash. So The repayment decision then, in some respects, depends on the borough's cash flow, that if you're gonna pay $600,000 back in 1 year, then the scenario that you discussed of doing it all in 1 year and raising taxes significantly may not be the best in terms of the future fiscal position of the borough. You pay it back over a longer period of time. It's the borough's funds going back into the refuse, into the sewer account. So again, as I kick it back to council, another decision for them to make, but it's all part and parcel of trying to balance the, the need to fund operations on an ongoing basis, but at the same time trying to protect the fiscal stability of the borough. So,
Just one more thing. Have you looked at the last, I mean, we didn't get it in a $602,000 hole all in 1 year. Have you looked at the last 3-4 years of budgets where?
We've gone back to about 2005.
And can you give council any recommendation on what might have happened the last 3 or 4 years so they don't make the same mistake down the road? It was overestimating income that possibly did not occur, correct?
That's a fairly simple way of saying that yes, I think there were some indications that revenues were budgeted in the expectation of certain events occurring. Those events didn't occur, the revenue wasn't generated. Yet, the same level of services have continued to be provided. So you make the adjustments, and at some point, have to bring the fiscal position of the borough back to a place where it's healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you.